Hey y'all, and welcome back to the party. It is your girl BrittReacts, and today we are reacting to Randy buys a bookshelf off Gumtree. Let's see what he has to say. All right, Randy, what's Gumtree is my first question.
Right. Here we go. Okay, here we go. Okay. Walking to Sky, Chapter 1.
He's gonna read it to us?
I bought a bookshelf on Gumtree recently. It was an amazing experience. I'll quickly tell you about it and then I'll read the book. But I found it strange because it made me start to think about the way like our methods of communication have sort of changed over the years. You know, in the old days, if you wanted a bookshelf, you'd just go see Gareth the bookshelf guy because he was the dude in your tribe that made the bookshelves. He had a little bookshelf cave.
Is this a Target vampire shirt he's wearing?
Now any mad bastard can sell their Gumtree. You know what I mean? As a species, we're sort of able to cope with knowing and gossiping about...
We are not the same species, sir. He said as a species, we are not puppets. But I think you're cute.
As a species, we're sort of able to cope with knowing and gossiping about around like 100 or 150 people. That's like the limit of our tribe. Any more than that, it starts to get confusing, which is why we created abstract constructs like territories and deities to unite larger groups of people under an imaginary common factor. And it works a treat because we only really gather en masse on special occasions.
This is like a
but I think like social
college
media
course we're taking right now.
It's that up, you know. I don't think we're able to deal with the thousands of people we're connected to on a daily basis, and as a result, we neglect our immediate 150. You know, that's why I never get invited to parties anymore. It's not because I ramble on about veganism and fisting old ladies. It's because I'm not on Facebook and everybody just assumes you are. I am so behind on the births, deaths, and marriages of my friends that I feel like the time traveler's wife every time I go to a party. I'm like, this is Tim, he's our son, he's 6 now. Didn't even know you were pregnant.
Shout out to the Time Traveler's Wife. I've never read the book, but I've seen the movie, and I'm pretty sure Rachel McAdams was in it. It was so good. I agree with this 100%. I feel like we're in a like social, political, social interaction course in college right now. This is, Randy, are you like a professor? What I agree with though is this social media thing where people just assume you are on all platforms, you can do all these things, and then when you tell them you're not, they're like, huh? I'm fasting right now from all my personal social media, pages, but I still obviously connect with you guys on my business platforms. And most of my friends know this about me. They know at the beginning of the year to expect that I will not be on social media for at least a month. This year I'm doing 3 months. And so that makes me be more intentional to have to go check up on my friends because I'm not getting those like daily life updates via Insta stories and posts and stuff like that. But it is so crazy. Like when you tell people like, I'm not on that. I don't do that. They're like, are you okay? It's such a weird thing. It's like, are we required to be on these platforms? Is someone paying me? Is there a monthly stipend I did not know about? I don't know. I just agree. I totally agree with this. Look at this. This is a Target. This is like the Target dog. Is this a Target shirt, y'all? Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. All right, let's let Professor Randy continue.
Traveler's wife every time I go to a party. I'm like, this is Tim, he's our son, he's 6 now. Didn't even know you were pregnant. Anyway, and you know smartphones aren't that great. You know that, right? They're not that great. You don't need the internet in your pocket. You work at Coles, okay? You're not working for the president. You don't need it. You don't need that much information. And also, what was the point of developing opposable thumbs for you to take a photo of your head and post it on the internet and then just stand by for validation? No one gives a about your head. They
your head.
Validated in order to gain permission to post a photo of their own head on the internet and stand by for validation.
When you put it that way,
at your head will at some point see it in real life. Your head and the neck it rode in on. Your vanity is sucking up my bandwidth.
This is so true, y'all. It really is. I love it.
Head as I'm on Gumtree looking for a bookshelf.
What is Gumtree?
Oh, you know when you put something in the search in Booktree? What the? When you put something in the search on Gumtree, I'm having a stroke up here. Yeah, when you put something
Love
in
the
search
improv.
bar, and
Obsessed with the
there's always
improv.
a couple of things that come up in the list that are like the polar opposite of what you search for. I'm like, get out of my head, Gumtree algorithms, conspiracy.
It's scary
but
when that
seriously,
happens.
You type, it's like bookshelf, and it's like bookshelf, 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 gramophone, bookshelf, bookshelf,
What?
bookshelf, combine harvester. What the? That's actually a pretty good price.
What?
Anyway, on this particular day, I found.
Sorry, y'all. I think let me move my phone. Okay, is Gumtree like a Craigslist in like over in the States? We have something called Craigslist or like Facebook Market where you can find items that people are selling. That's what it feels like Gumtree is to me. Some of these things I don't know what they are because it feels like it's like a cultural thing. I also let me know in the comments, is Randy and his partner, his friend, the other guy that does his bits with him, are they Australian or are they British? I'm not quite sure. Feel free to educate me. But yeah, maybe that's Gumtree is a thing from wherever they're from. And so are some of these like references. I am totally on board for everything he's saying though. And it's so true. Like I'll say to my husband, like, I want tacos. And I'll get on Instagram and scroll and there's like a Uber Eats ad on Instagram, like order tacos now for free delivery. And it's like, I didn't type that on my phone. I set it into the atmosphere. That's creepy. And we don't need smartphones. We do not need them. I have a friend who went back to having like a Razor flip phone. She like found it on eBay and went back to having it for like 2 years because she was like, I don't need all that other junk.
That's actually a pretty good price. Anyway, on this particular day, I found 2 bookshelves that worked for me in terms of cost and, more importantly, geographical convenience, because I'd be driving to Broadmeadows to pick up a bookshelf, right? So I type in bookshelf and I see the 2 things and I'm like, okay, one seller is Kathy, the other is Morgan. I send them both the same
this feels
text
like
message.
Craigslist.
Hello, I saw your bookshelf on Gumtree. Is it still available? Kathy texts back straight away saying, sorry, it went this morning.
Sorry.
That's cool, Kathy. I'm sorry I gave you an annoying voice in the retelling of this story. Morgan's response came through a couple of minutes later and simply read, it was my wife's bookshelf. How do you respond to that? Aside from the fact that it doesn't answer my question, his use of past tense in that sentence unnerved me slightly. I'm like, oh, I should probably just find another bookshelf.
I love the random apple on this
lived in the
desk.
suburb
It's
next to
giving
me,
professor.
So I replied, is it still available? He responded with the letter Y. Just a Y? Is he asking me why I want to know if it's still available? Or is it a Y for yes, and he's so in the throes of grief that he can't manage the E and the S? I assume it's a Y for yes, so I respond, cool, I'll take it. When's a good time to come and pick it up? No reply for 15 minutes. I'm like, oh, he's forgotten about me. Find another bookshelf. And then when his reply actually does come through, I realise he spent those 15 minutes crafting his response.
Oh,
because
no.
it's a thesis.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a dissertation.
He must have felt so bad about only using a single consonant in his previous text that he just massively overcompensated with this one. Also,
what did it say, Randy? What did it say, Randy? What did it say, Randy?
Unnecessary. So it's just one obscenely long sentence, which reads,
love it.
You must come and pick up now. I only have short time here at house and also it wide. So bring van or trailer and
it's a bot.
But
it's
I
a
can
bot.
help you carry
It's a bot.
downstairs. If you come park out front, walk up past ring bell, and I will help you carry it to trailer or van. I only accept cash, and if you do not come now, I will sell it someone else.
That is exactly how this goes on Facebook Market. This sounds just like Facebook Market. Randy, go find something else.
Fascinated by Morgan, and I simply must meet the man. So I drive over to his house.
This is the best story.
I sent him a message saying, cool, I'll be there in 10 minutes. He replied, okay, but spelled it O-K-A-Y, which just fascinated me more that he'll use 4 letters to spell a 2-letter word, but only 1 letter to spell a 3-letter word. Morgan is off the chain!
First of all, the phrase off the chain makes me laugh. It makes me giggle. I'm immature in that way. Like, I don't know, for whatever reason, like someone saying off the chain to me in this context is because it's so appropriate. Morgan is off the chain. Like, I cannot wait to continue this story. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Driving over to his house, I'm trying to picture what he's going to be like, you know. His pidgin English might suggest ethnicity of some sort, but I don't want to racially profile him. Maybe he's an old man who recently lost his wife and is not that very good at texting. Or maybe, and I'm really hoping this is the case, Morgan is just batshit crazy. So I get to his house and I go up to I park out front, walk up the path, ring bell, and I brace myself for the door to be opened by like an old man in a smoking jacket, wearing fishnet stockings and suspenders, just
fishnet stockings and suspenders,
pipe, while a butler just creepily polishes a goldfish in the background.
So specific, so oddly specific.
Wearing a fez hat, just trots up the hallway, sits on the mat, looks up at me and says, "Welcome to our lovely room."
He just painted that picture so well.
Opens and I am thoroughly disappointed. Before me stands an average Caucasian male in his mid-30s, dressed casually, hipster chic, stubble, glasses with designer frames, expensive watch. I immediately think,
the detail.
But the house is too cheesy for that. It's like a double-story doll's house with bay windows. But definitely a designer of some kind, maybe a graphic designer. He's too skinny for manual labour. He's too hip for the public sector. But this can't be Morgan. Because Morgan's text messages would suggest that he's not that technically savvy. And then the man standing in front of me says, "Hello, my name's Morgan." And the plot thickens!
Randy is a sensational storyteller.
The door, and 20 minutes
I'm all
later,
in.
I will be witnessing Morgan perform some of the most aggressive acts of violence I've ever seen in my life. And I will be speeding away in my car, bleeding from the face.
Wait.
Here's how this went down.
First of all, he doesn't have a lower part of his body. Just found that out. Second of all, how does one bleed when you are a puppet? This puppet, though, is a sensational, I mean phenomenal storyteller with so much vivid, colorful detail. Like, I feel like I'm in this room. I feel like I'm there. This is great.
I go into the house and I notice two things immediately. One, this is a house in the throes of renovation. Nothing too extreme, but there's like drop sheets on all the furniture, there's freshly painted walls, there's a bathtub wrapped in plastic in the hallway awaiting installation. Someone's doing some work on this house. The second thing I notice, on the way up the stairs to the second floor, on the first floor landing, is a wedding photograph featuring a very cleanly shaven Morgan with a very beautiful bride, very much in love. The photograph is very much on the floor and the glass in the frame is very much smashed. She's not dead, she's left him. And the plot thickens even more for Morgan.
It's tea time, guys.
And as Morgan unceremoniously
sip your tea,
kicks the photo frame to one side on the way up the stairs, I really wanted to pry into Morgan's life and ask heaps of inappropriate questions. But he was clearly a broken man. He had this terrible air of sadness around him, so I didn't want to intrude. Luckily for me, though, I didn't have to, because Morgan immediately...
Yeah, Morgan seems like he's the one to do that.
Whole story.
Yeah.
Thank you, Morgan. I shall hang off your every word and then retell your tale to 200 strangers and record it for a DVD. He is a graphic designer, yes, and he's really good at it. He does like massive rebranding campaigns for large corporations. He gets flown all over the world doing this shit. About 4 years ago, a woman hired Morgan to rebrand her florist business, and he did such a great job, she married him. And he thought everything was just fine, until about 3 months ago, Morgan had to do a presentation in Sydney, right? But he was on his way home from overseas and he got stuck in Dubai due to a flight cancellation. So rather than cancel the meeting, Morgan suggested to these businessmen in Sydney that they do a Skype chat because he's so technologically savvy despite his baffling text message style. So Morgan checks into a hotel, cracks open his laptop and starts Skyping with this room full of businessmen in Sydney who are all watching Morgan on a massive screen on their boardroom wall, right? And everything's going great. Morgan is totally nailing it until about halfway through, he realises that a file he wants to show these dudes is on the desktop of his home computer back in his home office in Melbourne. And he decides to live
We're in Australia, aren't we?
the desktop of his home computer on the Skype chat. He knows how to do that. He can control...
Oh, this is getting good. Morgan's going to find something Morgan should not find about his wife in front of all these people. Oh, this is juicy.
Of his home computer on the Skype chat. He knows how to do that. He can control his computer remotely from anywhere in the world. It's not particularly new technology, but Morgan makes it sound so impressive. So this room full of businessmen are all watching keenly like, oh, Margaret, bring in some biscuits. There's some newfangled going on in here. As Morgan clicks a few buttons and brings up the desktop of his home computer on the Skype chat. Now, what Morgan doesn't realise is that his wife has been using the photo booth app on that particular computer to take pictures of herself. To take naked pictures of herself. To take naked pictures of herself doing some pretty fuck. It's embarrassing to say the least. Just as Margaret came back in with the biscuits, I've got you the...
Why would she do that on a computer that they share?
Now, those of you who are familiar with the photo booth app will know that how it works is it...
I have some questions. Why is he opening photo booth to show, like, where his documents in photo booth? Oh, I guess, like, you open up files, maybe? Okay. Also, if you know your husband accesses his computer, girl, did she want him to find these things? I'm so invested. This is like a soap opera, and they don't play those anymore over here in the States of America. I'm not sure about where you live. But this is good old nostalgic drama.
Now, those of you who are familiar with the photo booth app will know that how it works is it accesses the built-in camera.
Photo booth had us in a chokehold in college.
Takes a photo of you when you're standing in front of the screen.
Terrible quality photos. Terrible.
You also know that if you leave that application open, the camera also stays open, witnessing whatever may be happening in front of the computer in real time, such as your wife in your home office, best mate. Morgan then goes on to tell me she's keeping the house. His former best mate is moving in.
No.
And while they're out for the day happily shopping for fittings, Morgan must suffer the indignity of moving his shit out and selling the stuff they don't want on Gumtree to this guy.
No!
It's at this point of the story that Morgan starts crying. He breaks down, and I do not blame the man. It's horrible, and I just want to give him a big hug and say, everything's going to be all right, Morgan.
But it's not.
But I am holding the full weight of a bookshelf halfway down a set of stairs, and Morgan is the only thing stopping that bookshelf from caving my face in. I was like, Morgan! And Morgan managed to pull himself together for about 8 seconds and then just went, bah, and let the bookshelf go.
Now I know where the blood comes in. Now I know why he's bleeding from his head.
Light hanging above the staircase. I'm now lying on my back, getting showered in broken glass, as the bookshelf turned end over end and just went thonk right through a freshly painted wall at the bottom of the stairs. I'm like,
How big was this bookshelf? How big and how heavy?
Forehead, which is just pissing blood for some reason. Apart from that, I'm fine. Morgan, however, he's not fine. Morgan is the opposite of fine. Something happened when the bookshelf lodged itself in the wall, and his sadness just went away in a second, and he started pissing himself laughing. Hysterical. And he had
Plot
the
twist.
creepiest laugh
Plot
I've
twist.
ever heard in my life. I'm standing going, this is weird, and he's going... like some sort of demonically possessed baritone kookaburra. It's like...
Demonically possessed baritone kookaburra. See what I'm saying? It's so detailed. Where is this story going? What's happening? Oh, man.
Can I still have the bookshelf? He's like, yeah.
The bookshelf is still intact?
The bookshelf, incidentally, showing no sign of having just rolled down a staircase and smashed through a wall.
He answered my question.
To my car. We had to stop about 6 times because Morgan was like, hang on a minute. We got it to my car, put it on the trailer, and Morgan was in such a great mood, he let me have the bookshelf for free. Oh! And that's where the story should end. But there was something about the bookshelf going through the wall that flipped a switch in Morgan's head, and he is now hungry for more destruction.
No.
So as I started tying the bookshelf down to my trailer, Morgan just strolls over to like an upright mailbox on the front lawn and just starts trying to wrench it out of the ground.
Morgan is
Really
in
putting his back into it.
distress.
I'm like, you okay, buddy? He's like, yep.
Yep.
He pulls it out of the ground, whereupon he wields it like a battle axe and just starts smashing up the front garden, just beheading the daisies, up the lavender. I'm like, oh, hey Morgan, maybe you want to stop and think about that. And he wheeled around and looked at me like Jack Nicholson chasing Shelley Duvall up the stairs in The Shining and said, why don't you mind your own business? Yep, cool, man.
I've never seen The Shining, so I'm not sure about that reference, but I think I got it with the way he painted everything else. This story is so good. It's just so good.
Your own business.
There's one lady in the audience and she's hysterical. Yep, let me get out of here. Nothing to see here.
If I tie something down, I take my time because I want it to stay there. But as Morgan nonchalantly strolled up the driveway, rolled up the garage door, and put the mailbox through the windscreen of an Audi, I must admit, I kind of rushed my knot tying job. I got in the car,
out of there.
I'm about to drive off.
I'm out of there.
I'm like looking at the house going, I'm sure he'll be fine. And then an armchair smashed out of an upstairs window and just went doink, 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 doink down the front lawn. I was like, what's my duty of care in this situation?
Assess the situation.
I didn't want to call
Assess
the
it.
cops on him. I didn't want him to trash the house. I'm like, I'm going to have to talk to Morgan. So I got out. I walked up the driveway, myself. You know when someone does something really violent and you're just like, Duff, what's supposed to do like that? Yucky, just yucky feeling in my tum-tum, and I'm standing there.
In my tum-tum. Yucky feeling in my tum-tum.
Like an adjoining door in the garage that leads into the house. I can see in through the door into the house, up the staircase. It's like a wooden staircase, and I'm standing in the garage just going, Morgan! Morgan! Like I was calling a cat for its dinner. Like,
this is nuts.
Morgan! Muggy, 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 muggy! And then I notice a small trickle of water start to come from the top step. And then a little bit more water, and then quite a lot of water. Just pissing down the stairs like a water feature. I'm like, that can't be right. And then Morgan appeared on the top step holding...
You guys, is this a true story? Half of me wants it to be true and half of me wants it to just be a really good fable that Randy has come up with, because this is so sad for Morgan, but like so juicy and interesting for us, right? Like, how do we know? It's like, do you guys know if this is true or not? How would we know? Does anyone know Morgan personally? Anyone know Randy personally? Not that you can know a bottomless puppet personally, but I don't know. Do we know if this is true?
Shitty water feature. I'm like, that can't be right. And then Morgan appeared on the top step holding a hammer like this. Bah! I was like, whoa! He's like, bah! Starts running
He's still
at
laughing.
me, wielding the hammer going, bah! I'm like, oh no, man, I just wanted to buy a bookshelf. He's like, run straight past me. I'm like, where are you going? He's like, bah! Made a beeline for my car. I'm like, no, man, stop. He's like,
no.
Stop it.
No.
Stop. He spins around and goes, I just checked my phone. She texted me 15 minutes ago saying she'll be here in 15 minutes. We gotta go. And gets into my car. Jesus.
No.
I run down the lawn, get in the driver's seat. I'm like, what was with the water? He goes, I put plugs in all of the sinks and turned all the taps on. I'm like, that's just drive. I was like, nah. I took off so quick, rounded the corner at the end of his street, and the bookshelf just went,
Of course. The bookshelf is gone.
And exploded against the guardrail. Just exploded in a shower of badly tied knots and broken dreams. So me and Morgan.
At least he didn't pay for it. At least he didn't pay for it. It was free.
Like a little breadcrumb for his ex-wife to find on the way home to her destroyed gingerbread house. I dropped Morgan at a train station. I have never seen him again. And that, my friends, is why I no longer shop on Gumtree. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I forgot that's like how this all started. Oh my gosh. I'm so stressed out.
You know my favorite bit of that story?
I'm so stressed out. It wasn't true.
I just made it up. Yeah, it's not true. There is no
Answered
Morgan.
my question. Thank you.
It's very unsatisfying, isn't it? But
What
that's
an
all in my head.
imagination. What an imagination,
That's all
Randy.
Morgan in my head. Why is it we can feel so robbed when someone tells us a story we just heard isn't true, and yet so satisfied at the end of a fictional novel? Huh? I don't know.
Sure. I'm satisfied,
You know the other
actually.
great
I'm
thing about that
I'm
story?
okay. I'm okay with that
First
not being
draft.
true.
Hemingway!
I'm okay with it. I'm okay with that not being real. It was I just enjoyed the ride. I appreciated the vivid storytelling there. And I'm glad that I actually know the answer without ending this, because I would be kind of going crazy about that part. What a storyteller this puppet is, y'all. That was hilarious. I was like locked in the whole time. My eyes were on the journey, like loved it. And I'm also really glad it's not true, because golly, that would be terrible for Randy. I mean, for what was his name? Morgan, and the wife, and the bestie. All right, y'all. Go have the day you deserve. Peace.